We are recording the interview of Leonard Davenport. This interview is being conducted by Ericka Carter from the Wright State University Veterans Voices Project. This interview is being recorded at 1834 West 7th Street in San Bernardino, California. It is 10:13 a.m. on March 6, 2020. Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm excited.
You're excited?
Yeah.
I'm so excited too.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about?
Well, I'm getting interviewed by a beautiful lady.
Oh, don't make me blush. Okay, so who are your parents?
My parents' name was President Davenport and Leslie. She was a Smithland before she married Davenport.
Okay. What were their occupations?
My dad, at one time, well, he did a lot of things. He worked for the telegraph company. He worked in a coal mine. See something else. He worked for the railroad.
What did he do for the railroad?
He hauled coal, not coal, but to make the railroad, to make the trains go. Yeah. Wood and sometimes coal.
Okay.
Maybe I should tell you when they was born and might make it a little more simpler.
All right.
My dad was born in 1869.
Wow.
Now, he was 19 years older than my mother. She was born in 1888.
Was that common in that time?
I don't know. I guess.
Okay. When were you born?
I was born in Bard, California in 1932, May 3rd. Bard is right down across the Colorado River from Yuma, Arizona.
So, if I'm doing some math right, your parents were a little older when they had you?
I don't think I was supposed to be here.
Okay.
I was 7 years younger than the number 9 sibling. It was 10 of us. The 9th one, she was 7 years older than me.
So 10 of you and you're the baby.
I was the baby.
All right. How old was the oldest? Or what's the difference in between you and the oldest one?
My oldest, well, that's a question. I had one brother that was born, they got married in 1904, and he was born in 1905, but he didn't survive. He died after about 9 or 10 months. Now, the next oldest one was born in 1907. He survived.
Did you tell us your birthday yet?
May 3rd, 1932.
Oh, that's quite a gap.
Real gap.
Did you get to know them?
Did I do it?
Did you get to know your older siblings?
Yeah, there's a picture of all of them right there. That was the 6 the ones that survived. There were 7 of us that survived. 7 of us produced siblings, but there's 6 of us right there that I knew. What you want me to do?
Turn around and show the camera.
Oh, that's
Okay.
the 6 that produced.
All right.
And their names are down there and which ones they are.
So how old is the median in that picture?
That picture was taken in 1966 at my father's funeral, after his funeral. He died in February 1966. 97 years old.
I was going to say, that's a pretty long life.
Yeah, 97.
And you hit me with a lot of numbers. And woo, wow. Okay. So are a lot of your siblings still alive also?
I'm the only one.
You're the only one.
Yeah, my sister, number 9, died in 14, in July of 14.
Okay.
88 years old. I'm trying to outlive her, and I got till May to go to make 88.
Okay. Well, I have faith that you're going to do it. I want you to do it. I need you to do it.
I want to do it too, but I don't have nothing to say about it.
Okay, okay. All right, so you're the baby. Your parents are quite up in age. Do your siblings help raise you at all?
When I was born, most of them was gone. The only siblings I had left at home was my brother Edward. He was number 7 in the 10, and my sister Alta, who was number 9. Now they were still home, and that's the ones I grew up. They were my brother and sister, my big brother and my big sister. I've seen the rest of them from time to time, but they were the only ones that was home.
I remember you talking about her quite a bit when I was younger and around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what did you graduate from high school?
Graduated from high school in June 1950.
Was that common?
Well, that was, I progressed up through the grades and I graduated in June 1950.
Where?
San Bernardino High School, San Bernardino, California. I was a Cardinal, that's what San Bernardino Cardinals.
Still were. Was it common for an African-American male to do that?
Here it was, yeah.
Okay.
There was no problem for him. Wasn't like down in the South. If you wanted to go to school and graduate, you could.
Okay.
No problem.
All right. Have you've been in California for all of your life?
Yes. I've traveled a lot, but I'm born and raised in California.
Would you live anywhere else if you could?
During my younger days, there's a couple of places I would like to live, but I would like to get away from here, because this town died.
Oh.
It's just nothing to it.
Okay. Everybody's trying to get to California, though.
Yeah, I know.
Well, all right. So, did you play any sports in high school, or were you a part of any groups?
No, I didn't play sports because I lived on a farm, a place called the Valley out there. And it was probably 15 miles from the high school, and we rode the bus. And if I wanted to play football, but after school, and then I'd have to walk all the way home, and I still had to slop the hogs and feed the chickens and all that kind of stuff. So I wound up in the high school band. Played the trombone in the band, and I played the big bass in the orchestra.
Wow. Have those been hobbies that did you keep those hobbies up after?
No, I didn't.
So you can't play it at all today?
No, I can't even blow a trombone.
Okay. So after high school, what did you do?
September the 11th, 1950, I was in the National Guard, and they called us to active duty for the Korean conflict.
When did you join the National Guard?
August of 1949.
Why?
Well, back in those days, if you were a black person, about the only thing you could do to make money was have a shoe shine box. And you joined the National Guard, and you got paid every 3 months, like about $30 if you made all of the meetings. So that's why I joined National Guard at that time.
And the equivalent of $30 then could do what for you?
Well, I don't really know, because when I got it, my mother took it, bought groceries and stuff with it.
Okay, so it was a contribution to the household.
Yeah, to the household.
All right, so you got activated. What was your job? Like, tell me about you enlisted in the National Guard.
Okay.
And it's 1949. And
1950.
Oh.
Well, 49
is when you enlisted.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and do you go off for any training or anything at that time?
Yeah, we did 2 weeks at San Luis Obispo up in Northern California. We went up 2 weeks for training. That was in June. And we come back September, we were in the Army.
Can you tell me about that training at all? Do you remember anything about it?
Well, at that time, I was a truck driver. And I used to haul the rations for the mess hall. So that's about all I was doing with my truck, 2.5-ton truck. I'd go pick up the rations and bring them back.
So when you went to training, they taught you how to maintain your truck and then how to drive it, and they gave you a military license to drive that particular truck.
Yeah, that was mainly my job, of driving the truck. Now, when they would make a hike, like a 10-mile hike, I would drive my truck behind them to pick up the stragglers. See, I never did any of that stuff.
Okay. And during your training, did you get any battle skills? Did you learn how to shoot the weapons? Did you have to? Okay.
I fired the M1 whenever they went out on the range, because I wanted to. I really didn't have to. I took them out in a truck, and you know, I didn't really have to, but I wanted to fire. I never had guns and nothing like that, so I was anxious to get a gun in my hand.
All right. So you did it because it was cool. Now, when you were in the National Guard, were you worried that you would ever be called to war?
Well, I never give it much thought. I was tickled to death when we got called in.
And how did your mom feel about this?
Well, I think she kind of liked it too, because she got allotment. She got $100 a month allotment from me.
Oh, now that's a big chunk of change for that time.
So my dad was retired already at $35 a month. So they didn't have a lot of money. And that's why my older brother Ed was stuck around to keep the family going. And when he finally got married, then Alta had got old enough and we graduated and all that. And she kept it going. Then when I got in the Army, she got married. So when I come back, then I had to keep it going.
Okay. So a long history of taking care of family.
Yeah.
And it's very important to you?
Well, I'm glad I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get called for the Korean War, and you're tickled about it.
Yeah.
Did they issue you gear and all of that stuff to go?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that gear?
Well, I got all of the gear that, you know, they run us through a big line, and you got sleeping bags and drawers and uniforms and caps and bags to carry it in and air mattresses. And
They gave you air mattresses?
helmet, yeah, we had an air mattress, helmet, all of that, rifles. We had all that kind of stuff.
Wow. Okay, I've never talked to a Korean War vet before, so this is very interesting to me.
Yeah, they just run us, well, they run us through gave us a medical inspection. You know, one guy looking at your eyes and the other one looking at your ears and the other one telling you to bend over and all that kind of stuff. They did all of that.
Did you get any shots for?
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah, we got shots in both arms. They got on the line and they were hitting you on both sides. I think I got about 4 on each arm.
Wow. Okay.
And then the tetanus shot was the one that hurt the most. It hurt the next day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long before when you got the call to you're going to war, did you actually leave for war?
I don't remember how long that was.
That's fine. That's fine. Like you say, a week or 2 weeks or a month? Was it a great big? It was a great big. Okay.
I remember everybody sitting there watching the TV, because they had a list of units that they called, and everybody was watching that list to see if our unit was on there. And then everybody hollered, "Oh boy, we going into war!"
Wow.
A bunch of those little young guys, you know. It was exciting.
Okay. Okay. So you get over to the war.
Wait a minute now, I didn't go to the war.
You didn't go?
No.
Whoa.
We went to Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you get to Germany?
Well, that's another story.
Well, tell me.
Okay, a battalion commander. We were combat engineers, Company B, 1402nd Combat Engineers. We built bridges, and airstrips, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, my battalion commander was a lieutenant colonel. He'd been in World War II, and he was in Germany. And he knew Earl Warren, who was the governor of California. He was buddies with Earl Warren. And he wanted to go back to Germany, and Earl Warren had some pull in Washington, so that's how that worked, and we wound up in Germany.
What did you do in Germany?
Drove my truck.
You drove a truck to...
Well, I had to go pick up the rations, and whenever they'd go somewhere to a training area, to the rifle range or something, I'd drive it. Usually I didn't do much driving unless they needed, but I stayed around the mess hall. Whatever the mess sergeant needed, then I would go get a drive, or they would use me. So I never did really get, when they fire at you, what do you call that? You're crawling under the wires and they firing at you with a machine gun. I never did do any of that.
Oh my. So
no. I was driving the truck. Rations was important.
Did they pick that job for you, or did you pick that job?
Well, that goes back to when I first joined. When I first joined, my sister, Alta, which was one ahead of me in the family, she had a car. And she had a job at Norton Air Force Base. But she was riding with some guys come by and pick her up from Riverside. And so I get to drive the car. And I would drive the car we would meet every Monday night for 2 hours on the back end of Norton Air Force Base. And I would drive her car, and I'd pick up 4 or 5 guys, and we'd go. Well, I took them out there, and there was a Sergeant Bondrip, was standing there watching me drive in with him. And when we got in and drive out, he said, "Hey, soldier, come here." Scared me to death, boy. He had an arm full of stripes. And so I went over there. He said, "Whose car is that?" And I told him, "My sister's car." "How long you been driving?" And I told him. And he said, "Okay, there was a weapons carrier there that the company had." He says, "Get in there, see if you can drive it." So I got in there and I could drive it. And he says, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to stop at 8th and Paris, which is on the west side of town, Waterman Gardens, and down on Central and Waterman for the Valley people where we live, and bring them to the meeting. So you have to leave early and get in on time because the meeting started at 7. Then you got to take them home after the meeting." And that's how I wound up with that job.
So you were voluntold?
Well, I was volunteered by the sergeant. Okay. But I liked it. Because, you know what I used to do? I probably shouldn't put this in there. But when I come home, when I go take the weapons carrier back to the place to get my car, I got me a piece of water hose about 10 foot long. And then I put it in the weapons carrier and put it in my car. I never did have to leave the car empty when my sister got it, see? So I would keep the car full so she'd let me drive it. She didn't know I was doing that, though.
Well, I don't think she'd be upset now.
She wouldn't be upset now, but they wouldn't have liked it then. So,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, I didn't have to do that, but the devil made me do it.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You saw an opportunity. It was an okay opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. So, why the Army?
Why?
Why? Well,
that was the first opportunity I had there. Some guy starting a National Guard outfit down there. And there was a bunch of us boys went down there to join. There was about 10 of us. Because we didn't have nothing to do, but like I said, make us a shoe shine box, and all of us wasn't going to make money with the shoe shine box either.
Okay. So, did you have any battle buddies that you signed up with? Like any good friends that you signed up with?
Well, like I said, there was about 10 of us down in the valley. We were all good friends down
Okay.
there. I don't know. Yeah, I had a couple of guys, Cornelius Dixon and Winfield Murdoch and Johnny Carroll. We were kind of buddy.
How long did you guys stay in the same unit?
We stayed in there the whole time we was in the service.
Well, when you say in the service, so your whole career?
No, they called us in September 11th, and I got out June something of 52. 50 to 52, we all got out.
Okay.
Okay, then in May of 53, they started the unit up again and we all went back.
Okay.
But then, little by little, most of them dropped out and down the road, and what was that, 57, I got commissioned as second lieutenant. And then I just kept going and going and going.
So when you were the driver, what rank were you?
Well, I started off as a recruit, and then I made PFC. And
so that's an E1 to an E2.
yeah, now, I had a good penmanship. And at that time, we had to keep a trip ticket wherever you went and what time you got there and what time you left. And they could read mine. So the motor sergeant says, I'm going to make you the dispatcher, which he got to write out all the trip tickets and pass them out. And so then I made corporal. And at that time, that's further than I thought I'd ever get in the Army. I would know I could make PFC, but I didn't think I would get no further. So then I made corporal.
Which is an E3 or an E4?
E4.
E4.
Yeah, PFC is E3.
Okay. So if you're a corporal, you have more responsibilities. Did you have soldiers under you at that point?
No, I didn't have anybody under me. I just had to get them trip tickets and keep the log up and all that kind of stuff.
But you're making more money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then the motor sergeant got out, and I went to motor sergeant. Yeah, I'm moving now. So I motor sergeant for a while.
And what year was that?
Oh, let's see, 55, somewhere in there.
Okay, so this is after you left and came back in.
Yeah, we were back, yeah. So, okay, I was motor sergeant, and I did that all right. And we were getting ready for IG inspection. Okay, I was working nights at Norton. Civilian working at Norton. And so I was down there, had my trucks lined up and the hoods open and all ready to go. And when my company commander and the inspector came out, you know, I did my little thing. And at that time, the inspector was saying, Blakely, that was my commander's name, said, if you don't get some officers down here, we're going to take away your federal recognition, which means no money. And Blakely, being a big blowhard, is, oh yeah, Sergeant Davenport's going to OCS. First time I ever heard about it. You know, I said, man, I don't want to be no officer, not me. So, but anyway, I had to go to OCS. And I didn't want to be, there was another guy there that kind of egged me on to go. He said, go see if you can make it. And then, if you don't want to be, then you can quit. Because I could have went with, like I told you, my battalion commander and those guys that were over on the headquarters company. He said, I was right along with them, and I could have been an officer, and I didn't want to be. And now I wished I had her, so do it. And if you don't want to do it, then quit. So I went and did it in 1957. I made my second lieutenant.
So you said that you were working as a civilian at the same time at Norton.
Yeah.
How did you get that job?
Well, when I come out the first time, when I come out of the Army after, I wanted to work for the post office because in my mind, post office had the best retirement plan and I wanted to work for the post office. So I hightailed it to the post office, put in an application. Then I went to Norton, I went to Santa Fe, and Norton called me first. So I don't think post office ever called me.
Their loss.
But I said, well, that's government too. So I stayed in Norton, and I was in jet engine disassembly over there in Norton, and I worked there from 52 when I come in to 61. And the reason I left in 61, they called me back in the Army. I was in a different type unit. We was in a 3668 Ordnance Ammunition Company. But they called us back into service. And I went back into service. I was first lieutenant then. Spent a year in there. Then when I came back to my same old job, but they were getting ready to move to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. If I wanted to stay with the jets, I had to move. And I didn't want to move. So luckily, I got a job at Norton with the Titan I missile. And at the time, I never knew that the Titan I missile was the United States' first line of defense in the Cold War. Every missile they had was pointed at somewhere in Russia, but I didn't realize it. But I was their #1 man on the first stage of that Titan I missile. They used to send me all over the country to update and do whatever needed to be done to the first stage. Now the first stage of the missile is the one that gets it up in the air. And I could do anything to that first stage to make it work. Now I didn't really know that was what I was doing. And I remember when the Russians started putting missiles in Cuba, and then Kennedy told Khrushchev, he said, if they fire a missile on us from Cuba, we're firing on Russia. And it was then I found out that all the missiles were all programmed to go to Russia, and they didn't have nothing to go to Cuba. They didn't have nothing programmed to go down there. And I didn't really know that was a pretty important job.
Well, look at you.
But it wasn't nothing to it, but I didn't know it at the time.
How did that make you feel when you found out that you were the guy? You were that guy that was going to save us if we needed to be saved.
I didn't look at it that way. I just knew that at the time, I was the only one they had that could work the first stage of the Titan I missile. But I didn't look at it as because the missile was already there. The only thing I was doing was updating it, or if something went wrong with it, I'd go fix it.
No matter where it was?
Where it was. See, they had 1, 2, 3, 4. They had 5 sites in the United States. And Denver had a double site. There were 3 missiles on each site. And they would send me to all those different places to work on the missile. Give me a brand new car, and PDM living in big fine hotels and all that stuff. I was taking advantage of that. And then my buddy Jack Hill, he was the first stage man. The second stage man. The missile get up in the air and the first stage blows off, and then the second stage, you want to take the bomb to where it was supposed to go. He was there, man, and he and I would travel together. We had a good time.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so, wow. So that's what you were doing as a civilian, and then you get called up to go active again, right?
Second time.
And what was that for?
There was a Berlin crisis, but it wasn't the one they had like in 1948 when they had to fly all of the supplies to West Berlin, to their side of the city and all that. It wasn't like that. It was just another Berlin crisis. But we didn't get any further than Fort Lewis that time. So that was...
And what did you do in Fort Lewis now that you're a second lieutenant?
I was first lieutenant.
Oh, you're still first? I'm sorry.
I was a platoon leader, but they had a big operation up there. I forget what it was, what they called it. It was at Yakima, Washington. and they sent a bunch of units up there. And our unit was to, we were supposed to supply them with ammunition. But since it wasn't a real thing, we had ammunition boxes. I had one site cutting paper to put in ammunition box. So they put dirt in the ammunition box. Then they had to weigh it to make sure it weighed the amount that type of ammunition weighed. So the thing they cut, keep the dirt from falling out. Then we had to fill it with dirt, weigh it, load it up, and take it to whatever outfit needed it. And we get over there and give it to the outfits, and they get mad. They took that dirt and dump it out. But that was funny. But it was a lot of work. But that's what we were doing. That was training. Getting ammunition where it's supposed to be.
That training helps save your lives when it's really time to go to war.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Is the understanding I have.
Yeah, well, we got to get that ammunition up on the front line so they won't come back there and get us.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So you spend a year there. You come back home. Is your same job waiting on you?
Same job was waiting, but then they sent that to Hill Air Force Base, Utah. And Norton was closing down, and it was closing bases. So then I went to telephone company.
Now, government jobs, your retirement goes with you. So you're still collecting towards retirement. And so your GS job, I assume it was a GS job?
No, they gave me the money when I left them.
Oh, so you got a cash out.
Well, Ruth got that cash out, my wife.
Okay.
But I got a cash out, see, because I was putting money into a retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I left the government, they gave me that money, cash. I was still married to Ruth. So somehow she wound up with it.
Wives, yeah. Okay. Then you went to the telephone company?
General Telephone Company.
Is that company still around today?
No, they sold to Verizon, then the Continental. Now they are, I don't know, there's another company, but that company ain't worth nothing.
Okay. How long were you with them?
21 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked for them 21 years. And they had a package going in 1987. If you qualified, they'd give you a lump sum of money, or they'd give you so much a month. But if you got the monthly payments, if you were married and you died, you cut off your wife and get nothing. So I took the lump sum, and I came out. And by that time, I was only a couple of years from drawing retirement from the military. And I think I got like $12,000-$13,000 from vacation and sick leave and all that stuff. And I figured now if I play this real close, I can get to my retirement from the military with this $13,000. And then right after the military, Social Security kicked in. So that's what I did.
Now, how long was your military career?
Well, I joined in 49, but when I was in the Army the first time, the pencil pushers finagled somewhere where I joined in 1950, but I didn't lose any time. And I got kicked out in 1985.
Kicked out?
Well, I wasn't kicked out. It's a regulation in the Army said that you don't make full colonel by the time you're 53, you got to retire. So I didn't make full colonel, and I retired.
Okay.
I had to. They kicked me out.
All right. So we only talked about you getting up to first lieutenant. Tell me about captain and the other ranks, major and...
Well, I was in the reserve, but I made captain.
Well, how did you go from National Guard to
Well, no,
reserve?
I was still National Guard. I take it back. I was in National Guard. And I made captain. and I become the company commander of the 3668 Ammunition Company. And I had the Armory over in Redlands. And I had that for a year or so. And then I got promoted to major, and I had to go to the reserves. So I started going to the reserves up in West LA. They had a reserve unit up there.
Now, did you have to go to the reserves because there was no allotted slot for you?
There were no slots.
Okay.
Well, there were some slots, but you had to be one of the fair-haired boys to make sure you got one. And if you wasn't one of them, you didn't get it. So I wasn't one of them. So I went to the reserves. And then I went over there in 1970 to the reserves. And then I stayed in the 311th support group over there. Made major and stayed over there. And then when I made colonel, lieutenant colonel, I had to get out of there. There were no more slots in there. So I took what they call, I forget what they call it, but you go, they had a unit where you could go and be there every weekend. And I remember we went to Hawaii to interview something over there, just something for you to do. And we went to Alaska to do that. And that's what I was doing till they kicked me out. Well, I had a, because I was sent to the Pentagon too for 4 years, 2 weeks a year.
And what did you do in the Pentagon?
I worked for the Chief of Staff of Logistics, who was a 3-star general, and he was responsible for supplying the whole Army with everything, all of the supplies they need. And I was in there with all the classes but 6, and what's oil and gas.
Oh, I know.
I forget what they call it, but class 6 of the liquor. And the oil and gas and stuff was another class. But we had to get everything. And in there I learned that with different businesses, they already had contracts set up in case of war. They would stop making whatever they were making and start making whatever they needed for the Army. Like Buster Brown started making boots, and another one started making shoes. Chrysler stopped making cars, started making tanks, and stuff like that. That was interesting. But that was already in place.
That's amazing. So we've talked before, and you've told me that the best job in the military is just fighting. Like
Infantry.
You gotta cook and you gotta fight. You gotta drive and you gotta fight. But if you just fight, you just fight. That's the only job you have.
The infantry, all they gotta do is either defend or they attack. See, when we were combat engineers, we had to get out in front and build a bridge across the river for the infantry to go, you know. And cause in the reserves, I had changed branches a lot of time. Well, I didn't change them. The system changed them, and you'd wind up something else. Engineers, ammunition, ordnance, quartermaster, and I finally wound up general staff when I was up there at the Pentagon. But the infantry is the best thing, and a lot of rank in there too.
So, have you ever been infantry?
I was mechanized infantry.
And what did you do then, and what rank were you?
I started as a captain. I was still in the National Guard then. But every year we'd go to camp for 2 years. And then when they come back home, they would play musical chairs. By that I mean the commander of the battalion say, this year I'm S2. I'm going to be S4. Next year I might be S3. And they move you around.
Now, did he do that some people do that so that you learn every job and to...
Yeah, that's what it's for, yeah. Teach you every job.
All right. or was he just?
My best one was S4. I'd like to get them supplied. You know what the problem was? Maybe this shouldn't be in your report, but all the warehouses were run by black sergeants and black enlisted men. And then I would go in there, you know, little lieutenant or captain. Hey, I need this, I need that. And they'd look at it. Oh, okay, your outfit's supposed to get so much. But then we wasn't supposed to get all that we got. I would get it all. And then when everybody else comes, they don't have it. They start looking for me. What are you doing with all that stuff? Well, this is what I'm supposed to have. You know, and my battalion commander would like that, see, because he would tell me, Davenport, yes, sir. You got any extra this or that? Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to send so-and-so over here. Give him some. And he was a big wheel when he went to division. So, but I like that.
little favor. Smiles happening all around.
Yeah.
That is quite lovely. Okay, so I want to make sure we cover all the jobs you had. So, driver, mechanized infantry, S4 supply.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Company commander.
Company commander. How did you feel about that job? Was it stressful at all? Did you have good guys?
Well, if you got good NCOs, it's not too bad, you know.
And did you have good NCOs?
Oh yeah, Jack was my first sergeant. Willie was my maintenance man. He was a warrant officer.
Okay.
So we ran a tight, good ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your soldiers were happy. Your lower enlisted.
Yeah, you had to treat them fairly, but you had to let them know that you weren't going to take no crap off of them, you know. So you make one example out of one, the rest of them fall in line.
Did you have a lot of females back then? Or?
Didn't have any female.
Okay.
There were no females in the military. Not they had whack, but we didn't have any, you know. Wasn't any around and all that during that time.
Okay.
All that came a lot later.
And was that it? Did we talk about all of the jobs that you had? When you were a major, what job did you have?
Well, I used to inspect the 311th units to support. They had a lot of units. See, I never heard of a support gate in the National Guard, but they had ammunition companies, maintenance companies, engineer companies, and you'd go around and inspect, you know, whatever you were expecting. If you were maintenance, or records, or training, or whatever you expect those records.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. That was in the 311. When I left the National Guard to the 311th, made major, that was my job. And all those units were around here in the immediate area. I mean, you know, Southern California, Los Angeles, you know, that area. I didn't go too far out. Had one here in San Bernardino.
Okay.
All them little towns up around LA.
When you retired, where did you retire from?
Ooh. You know, I was having meetings at Bell. They had some little something down there in Bell, California. And that's where I would have been doing my weekends. And when my time was up, I got the letter saying, as of whatever date it was in 1985, I think it was June 1st, you know, you have to resign. And so May 1st, I went to meeting. Nobody said nothing. But June 1st, I didn't go. I never heard no more. But then I got a letter from 6th Army saying that they were having a retirement for a lot of different guys that retired up in San Francisco. What's the name of that place up there? Presidio.
Okay.
And I was welcome to come up, and I ain't going up there just to retire. So I didn't go to that.
So you've never had an official retirement party?
No.
What?
Oh.
Oh.
Well, I was in a unit, and they had a commander for that unit, but it wasn't like a real unit, you know. It was just a bunch of old guys like me that didn't have no place else to go, and if you go there, they pay you. So that's what I did. Now I kept telling, well, this is my last meeting. Nobody said nothing. So I said, okay. When the meeting was over, I said, well, I'll see you guys. Adios. That was the end of it. Got in my car, came on home.
I'm sorry you didn't get a cake.
It didn't worry me a bit.
All right. So your last job was the telephone company.
Mm-hmm.
And your last day of retirement went?
Just the
last meeting.
Last meeting, yeah.
Okay. And what have you been doing since then?
Well, let me go back now.
All right.
During all this time
That's a long
that I was in the National Guard and the reserves and all that, like going to the Pentagon and all that, I went to a lot of schools. First school I went to was 1960, Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. And the reason I went to all them schools was to build up my points so my money would be higher. See, every day you're in there, you get a point. So I went to Aberdeen twice. I went to Fort Knox twice. I went to Leavenworth once. Went to Fort Lee about 6 times. Building up points.
I've been to all those places except for Fort Lee.
Yeah, Fort Lee, well, that's I don't know, what kind of base is that? But I went there a lot of time.
And what kind of schools were you attending?
Well, I had to attend the school that my MOS was in. So when I went to Aberdeen, I was a maintenance officer, 4,800. So I was, maintenance and stuff. 9 weeks. Then I went back. I was a platoon leader. Then I got to be 45-16 or something, which is infantry platoon leader. Then I went to Fort Knox. I should have been going to Georgia, what is it over there? That's the infantry base. But they told me if I go to Fort Knox, then I would be eligible to go for a career course at Fort Knox. So I went to Fort Lee, Fort, where the goal is, was that Knox. I went to Fort Knox, and I took up a tank, 10-week course, how to drive and maintain tanks. Then I went there for the career course, which was 18 weeks later on. And when I went to Fort Leavenworth, I went to the Command Jump Staff class. Then they had another program at Fort Lee where you go every 2 weeks for 5 years. And when you complete that course, you'll be a logistician. Well, by then I was going to the Pentagon, working in the supply, and I wanted to be a logistician. And I went to 4 classes, 4 years, and I never did get the last class, which would give me a certificate as a logistician. Never did get it. So I said, oh, well, I guess. They did away with the logistician position is what happened. So I didn't get that. I went to, most of them on the wall in there. I went to a bunch of them classes.
So how much active duty time did that give you, do you know?
I had 11 years and some odd months. I can't remember what they were. Which wasn't too bad for reserves or a National Guardman.
It's not.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
But that was my purpose for going to school. Everybody, why are you always going to school? And I was working at Norton, and they had to take me, sold my job, and then I worked for a telephone company. And they gave me a little problem, but I had somebody, I don't know who did it, somebody straightened that out, so they give me my job. They say, well, yeah, you can go, but then you have to quit and come back and see if you got an opening. I said, no, I don't do that. So somebody got on it, and then the guy came to, my boss came to, hey, you can go to school anytime you get ready. So then I started going to school there. And I used to go to school, like I said, 2 of those classes was 18 weeks. The career course and command and general staff. And somebody always wanted to, take me with you. I said, man, I'll be gone 3 months. Oh, you ain't going that long. I said, yeah, I am. I'll be gone 3 months. And I used to take Ruth and drop her off at her family's when I was going to Aberdeen. She lived close to Aberdeen. But I didn't want to take nobody with me. I enjoyed all that.
So the military treated you well?
Very well.
Now, were you able to use any of your benefits?
When?
Did you get benefits after you got out or during? Like, were you able to get the GI Bill or, the loans or?
I was on the GI Bill till that ran out. I went to Valley College, a 2-year college for 10 years on GI Bill. They stopped me, said, can't go no more, 10 years. You've been here 10 years on a 2-year school.
What were you going to school for?
Basket weaving and anything. I was just going for the money.
Okay.
I got an AA degree, but yeah, I got all of the benefits. I got, go to the commissary and the PX or BX or whatever you want to call it. And they put that thing out there in front of me, and I got a motorized thing in the garage. I got this thing. I got a wheelchair.
So is that from the
VA
hospital?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
That's lovely. So you've been taken care of.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And did you use your VA loan for anything?
No. When I bought this house, the guy had lost it. And he had GI Bill, so I just took that up. And I still got 2 GI Bills still up there because I was in there twice and I never did anything. Never used them.
Okay. So let's talk more about your family and such and the travels that you've done outside of the military.
Well, my childhood, I grew up out in the country. I had to cut a lot of wood because at one time we had to wash, cook, bathe, everything. I had to cut wood to heat the water. So I cut a lot of wood. I had to feed the animals. We had animals. I had to dig up ground for gardens. Mama and Daddy was strict. Mama could really whip.
Oh my.
Yeah, she was an excellent whipper. And she got a lot of practice. But I would do it again if I had to. I think it made a better person out of me. So, me and Barbara Jean got to talking because, my mom raised Barbara Jean when her mother died. And she said, we were poor down there, but we didn't know it. We ate every day and, we had clothes. Now, Mama would buy them clothes at the Salvation Army and all them kind of places when school started. Said we didn't know we were poor.
I think that's the best kind of poor.
Yeah. So, but it was a. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. A good childhood. I hate cutting all that wood, but I cut it. Because, Mama and Alton used to sit up at night and talk during the winter till they burned up all the wood. Had a wood box in the house, and I'd fill it up in the evening. And then Mama would wake me up about 4 o'clock. Lynn, yes, ma'am. Go over and light a fire. I'd go in there wouldn't even be a splinter in that box. And I'd have to go outside and cut wood in the dark, and one night I cut my foot off.
What?
Yeah, I have to go out there and cut some wood to get a fire going.
And you cut your foot off?
No, I said I could have.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if I didn't, because, I'm cutting in the dark. So it took me a while to get wise, and I would cut up a bunch of wood at night, and the house was built up off the ground. I put me some wood up under the house, and bring some in and she kind of light a fire, just go out there and get some wood. That's why she got me up so early, because there wasn't no wood. So I used to hate that. They burn up all the wood and then tell me get up and light a fire.
How old were you then?
Well, when we came to San Bernardino, I was in the 6th grade. How old are you when you're in the 6th grade? Now that was in Duarte. That picture was made in Duarte.
Where's Duarte?
Down by Monrovia, down in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But,
You're about 11.
yeah, I was about that old. They moved here in January of 1941. Cold, man, it was cold. Yeah, it was cold, 27 degrees. That's cold for around here. Because I remember when we got here, my dad had a really big sprinklers, and he turned that on, and he was going to leave it run all night because he wanted me to dig up that area for a garden. In the morning, that thing was all froze up. So beautiful. Yeah. But it was cold.
Okay. Was that a consistent thing? Was it consistently that cold, or was it just an especially
It got colder then than it does now. And back then, we didn't have a trash pickup, didn't have toilet in the house. So you dug a hole outside for a toilet and dug a hole to throw your trash in. And you could only get down about 4 feet, because then you'd be standing in water. Because it was, the ground was real wet down there.
Why did you guys move to San Bernardino?
I don't know. Mom and them said, let's move. And we moved. They didn't tell me nothing.
Okay. Good choice, though. You got to be a Cardinal.
Yeah, I guess you'd say that.
And the school's still up and running.
Yeah. Now, Alta had to go to school in Duarte and Monrovia. They didn't have a high school in Duarte. So she had to go to Monrovia to high school.
Okay. Are you still in contact with any of your military friends or buddies?
Well, I hate to say it, but they're all dead but Jimmy Jews. And we call each other every now and then. Jack gone, Willie's gone, everybody's gone. They all done died off.
I'm sorry.
Davenport's almost gone.
Are you a member of any veterans groups?
No, I don't do nothing anymore. I don't have enough energy hardly to move around the house when I don't go to a meeting.
Okay, so you're just staying alive.
Just barely going to dialysis, and that's a job.
Okay.
See, I got to go to them in the morning.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap up here so you can get your
Well, I
rest.
ain't in no rush. I don't got to be there till 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's pretty early. Is there anything that you remember specifically, a story you could tell about a unit or a person or something that happened while you were doing something that you'd like to share? Like any prominent memories that you have?
Well, I remember we were at Camp Roberts. I was driving the rations. And it come to find out, see, when you went to the warehouse to get the ration, they'd have a pallet right here and it'd say B company, A company, B company, C company. And all around it was different companies. Well, my mess people were stealing something from over here, and something from over there, and something from somewhere else. And then they would bring it in home on the weekend. And they had a inspection at the gate as you go out the gate. Got our mess personnel. We didn't have nobody cook. So then we had to come around and find some cooks. But them guys got in some serious trouble, stealing food. And then I remember another time, this was in the National Guard up at Camp Roberts. This was during the hippie time, you know. Okay, we had a battalion up there. 2 companies was at, 3 companies was at Camp Roberts, and one was on Honolulu, which was probably about 20 miles away. It's kind of like out in the forest. And it was hot. And they would come with their truck and they would get these big old 300-pound blocks of ice to take to the unit. And they had about 20 miles to go and they had to go through all them trees and stuff. Well, first, when they went up there the first night and they was setting up camp, and them hippies running all these girls through the camp naked. You know, them guys got to running after them girls and couldn't get the camp set up. But then, after that, like the blocks of ice, they'd send some of them girls out there and stop them trucks, you know, they'd be out there talking to them guys, and them guys be, and the guys be in the back stealing the ice. They'd be chopping the ice back up, taking out 25, 50 pounds of ice. And they do the same thing with the rations. Now I'm in charge of rations now, in the battalion, I'm the S4 now. And then here they come and they complaining to the colonel about they ain't getting no food. And the colonel looking at me. What's happening to whatever company that was out there? They ain't getting their ration. What do you mean they ain't getting their rations? I'd have to call in the ration people. Hey, did this outfit pick up? Yes, sir. They picked up everything that everybody else picked up. Then they come to find out, them girls were stopping them. They were emptying them trucks. They wasn't getting nothing to eat. So they were blaming me for a while. That ain't my fault. Them guys like them girls. I can't help nothing about that, you know. And the girls, they were just coming out there and almost nothing. And them guys were, yeah, that was kind of funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. I remember another time, I was the S4. And during the year, we usually go to Fort Irwin to qualify with our rifles. And so the colonel told me, Davenport, yes, sir. You know, we got to go to Irvin every year and qualify. See if you can find any extra ammo up there we can use. Oh, okay, sir, what kind you want? All small arms, 30 caliber, 3.5s, 4 deuce, you know, they qualify with all that stuff. All right, sir. So I went up there and I got the ammunition dump. It's full of black. I said, you got any spare ammo around here, small arms? Oh yeah, what do you want? I said, well, we need some 30-aught, little 45, 40. It's okay, back your truck over here. And I had one truck loaded with small arms, another one loaded with 3.5, another one loaded with 4.2. I had 5 trucks loaded. Mm-hmm. And those are the trucks we came up there on, you know, we convoyed up there. And he said, oh man. And you're supposed to put a sign on all the way around, explosive. Couldn't do that. I wasn't supposed to have it. And he said, man, what are we gonna do? So I wanted you to get some ammo, but we got to get back home in them trucks. So they finally decided they were going to send the trucks home early with ammo in it and dump it in the armory and then come back. So that's what they did. But the old colonel boy, his butt was sucking wind till they got back. And then they had ammo parked in in the armory and everywhere, you know, because they had to unload the trucks. But then when we got back, they put it back in the truck and backed the truck up against the building because they didn't have nowhere else to store it. And they finally got a bunker up at Fort Irwin. He said, well, I won't never do that no more. I said, I did what you asked me, Colonel. He said, yeah, but you overdid it. Well, you didn't say how much. You said all I could get. And another time when I was S2, the S2 is intelligence, and he's an air guy, you know. And we had a helicopter in the battalion. So I went down to the battalion. I said, I want to get the helicopter. He says, all right, who's it for? I says, Colonel Eveleth, that was my colonel. First of the 160th. So you got a heliport down there? Yes, sir. I said, okay, tell the colonel we'll be down there at 9 o'clock. He can have the helicopter for an hour. So I went. I said, hey, Colonel, helicopter's coming for you for an hour. What? He said, all this time I've been coming to camp for 10 years and I ain't never had a helicopter. They want to be here at 9 o'clock. That's for you. He said, man, how did you do that? So I went down there and told them that my colonel wanted a helicopter, and they said, all right. He couldn't believe that. And I didn't know that they never had one. But I did a few stuff out of the ordinary that they never got. Like I had all that stuff, them supplies for them, and then the ammunition. But it was kind of hard too, because a lot of them guys didn't want, you know, the blacks in their outfit. They had to take us. And then they kind of found out some of them was pretty good, you know. Because I know the S4 they had before me, he had a whole barracks. And on the bottom floor, he had paperwork all the way across in 2 rows on both sides. I said, how in the world he figure out anything with all this paperwork? And when I become S4, I thought I was doing something wrong because I didn't need all that. I had a clipboard with 2, 3 papers on it. And I said, oh man. Yeah, he had papers all the way down that barrack in 2 rows on each side of the barrack on the downstairs. Paperwork for the stuff that he got for the battalion, you know. And then I know when we check out, we'd have to check out, and if you were short sheets or blankets or anything, you know, you'd have to pay for them. Of course, they got that, you know, you lose so much. But the biggest thing they would lose would be trays and knives, forks, and little cups they have. So we start taking the guy who run the dump, start taking him a tray every day at noon and whatever we had to eat. And he had stacks of them down there. When you need 20 trays or whatever, he'd give them to you. And they said, we never did have to, I forget what they call that. But you know, they write it off so much money, they write off so much. Mm-hmm. Say, we had never wrote off this small amount before. You know, yeah. But it was kind of fun to me to be able to do them things, you know. Just because they didn't really want me in the unit. But,
so you overcame adversity by just being the best at the
I didn't make an issue out of it like a lot of them do. You know, they would make an issue out of it. It's because I'm black. And to me, it was knowledge. It wasn't what color you was, it was knowledge. How you do it. So then they taught me too in the Army. There ain't no excuses. do it or you don't. They always taught me to be on time, and I'm always early. Yeah. And it really icks me when somebody ain't ready.
Mm.
I went to a lot of places, like they giving a fair. They said, we're gonna start at 6:30. I get there at 6:30, they ain't nowhere near ready. And I wind up working, trying to help them, then I get all sweaty and musty. I said, I ain't gonna do this. I should be ready. So anyway, what else you need to know?
Anything else you want to tell me you think is relevant or important?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing else.
Okay. Well, this has been a fabulous conversation. I appreciate you very much for having it with me.
Now, one other thing that I've experienced in my military life. When we were in National Guard, you never left the state. You was always going to Camp Roberts or Honolulu or someplace like that. We used to go to Fort Ord. When I got in the reserves, first year we went to Petersburg, Maryland, Virginia. Yeah, we went over there to, what's the name of that place? It used to be a camp over there. Now, the first time I ever left the state with the reserve unit.
How did you guys travel?
They flew us over there to Byrd Airfield in Richmond, Virginia.
Military aircraft or civilian?
I think it was civilian aircraft. We left from LA Airport. It was civilian aircraft. And we went down there, and then they busted us on over to Fort. I can't think of the name of that place. But it was a camp. It was closed. You know, forts, they keep open all the time. Camps, they close. But there was a camp over there in Petersburg, Virginia.
Did you ever have to help with any natural disasters or things like that, being a National Guard or reservist?
Never did, but as soon as I turned over the company, I was company commander, turned over to the next guy, they had a big flood in Redlands. The Army was in Redlands. And they had to go out and do that.
How do they prepare for those, or do you, as the National Guard or reservist?
I don't know. Oh, when I was the S4, doing the riot.
Which riot? You'd have to be very specific.
Down in LA.
The Watts?
The Watts riot.
Okay.
I was the S4. And we left on Wednesday, going to camp. You know, we leave early because they come into camp that weekend. So we left on Wednesday. And I think the Watts riot started on Friday. Well, the units was leaving, coming to camp. And they gave them fools an award for getting there so early. Only reason they were early because they was already out. Oh, they just diverted them from Camp Roberts to the LA area. And then we were up there for a week, the people I took, you know. And that's when I got all that ammo. And they had some kind of troop coming to entertain the troops. Well, there wasn't nobody there, but just a few of us, advanced personnel. And we had some personnel carrying. We were mechanized infantry then. And there's a little river on Camp Roberts. We had the girls and them things floating down the river and all that stuff. You know, they were young girls. The guys were taking them out. But we didn't have nothing else to do, you know, because they wasn't up there. But they got an award for responding so early, and they were already on the highway.
Well, that worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get down into that thing. I was up at Camp Roberts. Of course, they tell me some of them guys were down there shooting at themselves and everything. Is that what happened was somebody shot. They don't know who they were shooting at. They just heard a shot. and they thought it came from a direction. And they started shooting that direction, and the brothers was bouncing back at them. Nobody got hurt.
Thank. That's good.
Yeah.
That's very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, the military was pretty good to me. I don't know what gave me the idea to go to all those schools to get my points built up, but somehow it come to my mind to do that. So I started going.
Did you get any other degrees besides your AA?
No. I'd probably made colonel if I had it. Because I went up before the board for about 3 or 4 years, and then they had to turn me back. Well, we found you qualified, but you wasn't the best qualified. Now, I could have went to war college. I was scared to go.
Why?
I didn't think I was smart enough to go over there. That's where they go. That's where you make general. I said I'd be over there, the coffee maker. But I don't. I was scared to go. And then if you don't pass that, your career is over anyway. By that time, you know, I was almost at the end of it anyway. But I said, no, I ain't gonna go out that way. So I just said I did better than I thought I was gonna do when I made staff sergeant. Yeah.
Well, yes, sir.
So.
Is there anything you felt like we haven't said or we've left out during this interview?
Yeah. No. Had one brother that was in the Army for about 6 months.
Was he drafted?
Yeah. But he was a conscientious objector. They kicked him out because he wouldn't take the rifle. Edward.
Okay.
None of the rest of them had any military experience.
Which war did he not participate in?
That was 2.
World War II?
Well, that was like 1944, 45, right at the end of it.
That wasn't, Yeah. He wouldn't take the rifle.
No, he was a conscientious objector.
Do you know why? Was it
Well, that's because he
religion or
was,
just...
he was religious. He was, you know, him, Mom and Alta, they were all pretty religious. And he was religious, and he just said, I don't want to do that. And you know, now some places they would put you in the mess hall or the motor pool, but now they give him a rifle. They want to, you know, make him be a soldier. And he wouldn't do it, so they put him out undesirable.
I'm sure he went on to be just fine.
Well, I think he had a little problem with getting jobs in some places. That ones that would check that and see, you know, he was undesirable for the Army, you know, right after the war. But he made out all right.
Okay. Are we ready for the last question?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have to say to the people who will hear or see,
See, I didn't have no exciting careers.
I think what you did was very exciting. A career as long as yours?
Just trying to make it.
And you did. right?
Well, I got through it some kind of way.
How did your family feel about you being in the military and gone and stuff like that?
You know, when I first joined the National Guard and they gave me the uniform, and I come home and then when I went to meeting, got in it, my mom said, "You look like a pretty good little soldier." But they never really did any. Now I had one brother, Manuel. When I got promoted to major, he lived in LA. He came over to the unit to watch him pin me with the majors. And he kind of liked that. He said, "My little baby brother's boy, he's a big old major in the Army."
How'd that make you feel? How'd that make you feel?
Well, I was kind of glad that, he seemed to think it was something, but I was just glad to get promoted. I went over to that unit, support brigade, and I've been in a battalion and there's only no more than 2 majors in a battalion. And when I went in there and I reported in, Leonard Davenport reporting for duty, sir. The guy says, "Okay, fall out right over there where you see them people over there, that platoon over there." I went over there with 35 majors over there.
Really?
35 majors. I was 36.
What do they do with all of that?
Well, those are the ones that went around and inspected the units from the 311s, because all those units was under them, service units. But I said, 35 majors, and I never seen no more than 3 in a battalion.
Did you enjoy that job? Did you enjoy that job?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed most of it. Most of everything I did.
That's the best.
I didn't like, well, I was in service then, but we'd go out for a bivouac for a week. And I didn't like that.
Bivouac.
Bivouacking.
It was interesting because when I was in the military, older Army would call it that, and the newer Army wouldn't call it that. So it was like, what are you talking about? And then, that was funny.
What do you guys call it?
Oh, I don't even remember. But it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, all I know was bivouacking. Be a week out there in the Tulies, living out there and sleeping and all that stuff. I just didn't like it.
Well, when you had a truck, you got to sleep in your truck, right?
No, I slept up in the bows. They put that carpet over there and I sleep between them bows.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay. What message would you like to leave for future generations who will hear or view this interview?
I would tell them to get all they can get out of it. You're going to make that a career, do what you have to do. You need to be aggressive, but not over aggressive, I don't know how to put it, but you don't just stand around. You got to be doing something productive. Yeah. I found that went a long ways, and know what you're doing. But do something. You got 50% chance of getting it right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking the time to share your recollections of your service and sharing your life with me today.
I don't see what you got out of that.
I have learned so much about you.
Well, yeah, that's something about me, but that ain't no big thing,
Nonsense. I love you, and I love the story that you've told.
Yeah.
That concludes our interview with Colonel Leonard Davenport.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.